Hiya, pal, and welcome to the Whenever I Get a Video Done show. We got a great video for you here today. We're going to be talking to the one, the only, the bodacious environmental engineering intern Phoebe Barron. Yes, we are going to be discussing, I don't know, poop in the sewers or something. We've had a really amazing year so far. 2026, the year of the horse. And you know what that means? A year characterized by a giant dick. Oh, how'd that get there? But I think we've all talked about that enough. What I think we need a little more attention on is a certain media outlet, a television show perhaps, that has fallen victim to repeating joke-telling patterns so consistently that it is beginning to rely on it to feel successful. I'm of course referring to The Daily Show on Comedy Central. Now, if I were to make a case whining about The Daily Show, saying, "I used to be so much better," then I would need to provide contextual information, like, The Daily Show was created to replace the Comedy Central program Politically Incorrect, which was initially hosted by ESPN anchor Craig Kilborn. But I'm not here to argue that the show used to be better. I've never even watched anything from before Jon Stewart came back in 2024, with the exception of like one or two of Trevor Noah's pieces, or those videos of Jon Stewart debating Bill O'Reilly where the libs ruled the world for a day. Because of that, I'm not going to give you an overview of The Daily Show's 27-year-old history. I'm just here to rant about what it is right now. So let's get right into the headlines. Jon Stewart came back to The Daily Show in February 2024, and everybody in the world was like, "Yay, Daddy's home!" And I was like, "Yay, the guy from Big Daddy has his own show now!" I immediately liked everything about him a lot. He's so comfortably entertaining, insanely smart, and he's one of the most articulate people I've ever witnessed. I was too young to care when Trevor Noah was on the show, but I did watch and love his stand-up, and he's got one of the only podcasts I think is worth listening to. After Trevor left, there was a bunch of co-hosts for the show. Desi Lydic, Jordan Klepper, Bonnie Chang, Michael Costa, just to name the ones who are still on the show. They also had a bunch of celebrity hosts, but I never really liked when shows did that because it doesn't feel like the show has an identity anymore. It just feels like a time slot that needs to be filled. And these Daily Show specific co-hosts are great right now, so they probably were back then, but I just honestly didn't have a reason to watch until Jon came back and, the second term of Trump's presidency. However, there's an issue I have with behaviors on the show after Jon's return. The show drives me insane half the time. Why? Well, let me tell you, friend. The show plays for laughs. That is its main goal. And boy, does it get them. All sorts of them.
But you know what?
Yeah, even that last one. Listen, I don't have a problem with something just because it's intentionally created to get people to laugh, but a problem with something like The Daily Show is that it's already so successful and popular that the audience must laugh. Most of the time, I feel like the show can't go on without laughter. Like, laughing is some sort of green light for whatever's next, which is usually another joke that has to be laughed at. I know it sounds like a really specific critique, but it's substantial enough of an issue that it gives me an ick every episode. And I'm only upset about this because I do like the show. The host, its format, the topics that it talks about. The quality of all of those things are just held back substantially by the show's desperation. I want to look at this one joke-telling technique from The Daily Show. It's one that most, if not all of the hosts regularly implement. And whether or not it's a conscious thing, it is extremely annoying and often simply not funny. I call it the wait for it. Here's how you perform a bit using the wait for it technique. Step 1, tell your joke. Step 2, gauge whether or not the response met your standards. If not, proceed to step 3. If so, proceed to step 3 anyway. Step 3, wait in silence until the audience starts laughing again. But don't forget, it's equally important to still be present in the scene. You could look down and smile. You could chuckle a little bit to yourself after a pause. You could just stare down the barrel of the camera lens and telepathically force the viewers to laugh. It works every time on a television show that gets millions of views every day. That's the thing. You couldn't tell jokes like this unless you were already famous and successful and people felt obligated to laugh at you. Imagine if I did this during stand-up. So I said, you need to teach that dog more geography. If it was always a big laugh and they were just trying to milk it a little more, I'd understand. But it isn't always a big laugh. Listen to the reaction to this joke.
I'm starting to get the sense that this administration is not as competent.
Okay, a decent chuckle. Let's watch it again with the technique.
I'm starting to get the sense that this administration is not as competent. Stay with me. Not as competent as we've been led to believe.
That was the most hilarious thing anyone's ever heard. The actual joke isn't something I naturally laugh out loud at in the first place, so the audience is probably playing it up a little with the chuckle, but the show is demanding that they play it up even more. I get that these daily and nightly talk shows have a live audience for the purpose of signaling the at-home viewers how to react and when. That's fine. You can't really change that. On top of that, the live studio audience is installed so the host has tangible people to play to and make pacing choices for. It's so much easier than just assuming that everything you're doing is right and that everyone at home is enjoying it as you intended to. The problem is these in-person audiences are being exponentially conditioned into insincerity. It's a cycle of the joke-telling technique's effectiveness being virtually proven by the live audience, then the hosts and writers using that feedback to write more of those types of jokes, which are then further reinforced by the live audience, and so on. The bar keeps getting lower and lower. I hear the same joke told 1,000 times, and the audience always loses their minds over it. And it doesn't help that comedy under the Trump administration is just so damn easy. These late-night writers are milking each Trump reference way after the teats have dried out. All you have to do now is throw the word Epstein into a conversation and the audience will laugh their balls away. Don't get me wrong, making fun of and criticizing the Trump administration is a good thing, but it shouldn't come at the expense of the way you tell jokes, or the audience's balls. You might have heard about how Conan O'Brien hates talking about Trump because you're playing with something that's already inherently stupid, out of this world, and comedic in nature.
Mr. President, who do you want to lead Iran?
Unbelievable statutes, you see.
Personally, I think comedy should keep poking Trump as much as possible because it really bothers him and it alleviates people's frustration with his actions. At the same time, I do agree that these late-night writers are not providing all that intelligent of comedy when Trump is the through line. These wildly successful comedians, hosts, and platforms aren't earning these laughs. You can see it when an awkward celebrity guest host takes over and delivers each joke their own way, not the way that the usual hosts have learned to tell jokes in the sole pursuit of convincing their audience that what they're saying is funny. No, the thing you're saying isn't that funny, you're just good at convincing people to laugh. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I could do it better. I can confidently say I couldn't. There's so much research and time crunch that goes on at these shows to get same-day relevant content out there in a high-quality production. Meanwhile, I can't even get a video out every month or create one within the scope of its topic's relevancy. But, for one thing, I'm just one person doing this all by myself. And two, after watching The Daily Show for the past 2 years, I can see them getting more and more comfortable. That's a bad thing. It shouldn't be easy to maintain such a wide audience and make millions of dollars every day. Yet, comedy has gotten to the point where there's a formula that's more important than the quality of your jokes. It's why I can't stand more than half of SNL's sketches. I get it, it's hard to make a TV show, but you're fucking Saturday Night Live. You should be working your ass off to stay alive, especially when you've existed for 50 years. Unfortunately, you're going to get millions of viewers no matter what you put out. Even if it's Matt Damon literally just dancing awkwardly for 5 solid minutes, or spitting coffee on Mikey Day over and over again as the only bit in the sketch. Or having all the men in the cast sing rock and roll with Jack Black for a whole sketch, or writing a whole sketch where the joke is, I'm not picking you because you're fat. Really? How did that get past the pitching phase? Oh look, he's even going to pick a little kid over the fat guy. Okay, where have I seen that before besides everywhere else, including the best example, Megamind? But as long as SNL has a cold open about Trump and Weekend Update, it's going to stay one of the most successful shows in the world. By the way, kudos to all the absolutely phenomenal performers on that show because they can really sell a bit with them just having fun with it, no matter what the bit is. I'm pretty sure that 90% of the reason that people enjoy the show is because they want to be on it or it looks fun to do, not because they actually think it's something funny. Back to The Daily Show. Yeah, that's the transition you get. I appreciate a lot about The Daily Show. I think every host on it has earned their place and is really good at hosting. It's basically my main source of news because it's so easily digestible. And their interviews are always interesting, especially when Jon Stewart hosts, because he won't just let someone get away with saying something he disagrees with. The other hosts typically have a more promotional feel to their interviews, and I think it's probably because they don't feel as secure in their eloquence during debate as Jon has to be after all these years. I hope they get more comfortable with that because I don't really have a reason to watch them interview someone unless I want to watch the person that they're interviewing. There's a lot of great bits, like Jon Stewart interviewing Elmo, who was puppeting himself about the anti-Semitic posts Elmo's profile had made on X. It wasn't roll around on the floor funny, but it was a lot smarter and braver than what we usually get. Jordan Klepper's video segments are often great and are much funnier and high in quality because his improvisational skills are at the forefront. Desi Leidick's Fox-splaining segment is fantastic and intelligent satire, though it really needs a higher budget because it looks like it's filmed on her phone in a closet. Ronnie Chang is probably my favorite host because he's kind of the only one who still treats the show as a parody news show and not as a late-night show. His jokes are always abrasive, and you can see the sort of discomfort mixed with bravado that's perfect for the format. Michael Costa, he needs to stop with his catchphrase, right? 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 It's not funny when it's a catchphrase, bro. But Costa is also really good, especially when he's a field reporter and debases himself for really any bit at all.
I'm shitting my pants!
And the newest host, one that I was really excited about, Josh Johnson, is an absolute powerhouse of a comedy content creator. He has so much potential and has already made brave creative choices during his week's hosting. His comedy output and quality are kind of unmatched right now. He posts a brand new hour of stand-up on YouTube every week while also working on The Daily Show. For all of these good things, there's a massive unwavering force of mediocre and safe jokes. It's not brave to go after Trump, it's expected. If Colbert and Kimmel buckled under Trump's censorship, their ratings would have plummeted. Most of these shows literally depend on Trump as a comedic crutch. Seth Meyers will tell you as much. He had less than a year of other things being important in the media, and he was still standing for his opening monologue at that point. So because of how easy it is to make fun of Trump, The Daily Show has to be more confident and take bigger swings in the actual jokes that they tell while covering his administration. I'm not tired of hearing about Epstein, Trump's corruption, or Pete Hegseth being a stupid person. I'm tired of hearing the same joke be told about it like it's still funny 1,000 times later. I'm tired of the host leaning in with their eyes open and saying, "Am I right? Isn't that funny?" I think that for every late night show, but especially The Daily Show because it's supposed to be designed as a satirical news show. Satire isn't reached when Jon is a little sarcastic about something or when the veil is dropped all the time to signal that a joke has just been told and laughter is expected in return. Quick tangent. Did Comedy Central finally give them the rights to words like penis, vagina, asshole, etc.? Listen, I love the word penis as much as the next guy. No, the next one. Wow, it is so apparent that they feel so giddy by using these words. Half the bits now are genital or poop related. We were already making pretty shallow jokes and now we're laughing at the word butthole? Watch as Desi Leidick basically says as much.
And that is the trenchant satire you've come to expect from 30 years of The Daily Show.
Tangent over. The only late night show I go watch besides The Daily Show is Seth Meyers. His show is a little predictable, the jokes aren't always fresh, and he tends to talk about the same topic multiple days in a row when it's the main thing going on in the media for that week, even if there's not much more to say. But the show doesn't ignore that or try to convince us otherwise. In fact, it embraces all of its awkwardness to the point where it feels like I'm watching Seth Meyers have a good time and telling me the news along the way. He talks about and pokes fun at his staff all the time and will incorporate them in the show. Cue Card Wally is both a real living person and a character on the show, and he is naturally funny to watch interact with Seth. The jokes can be stupid and not really have a point, but Seth will have so much fun doing a voice and riffing to his live audience that it's just fun to watch. Seth and the graphics team have their own dynamic where he will look at something they made and say, "By God, that is stupid," but also point out that he's to blame for its existence. And my favorite thing about the show is that it is so honest about how repetitive it is. Seth Meyers will often say directly to the camera, "I can't believe I'm still talking about this. I've said this a million times. I wish I could stop talking about Trump, but it is so overwhelmingly prevalent in the media that everything else pales in comparison. Because of that, my job is to make fun of Trump. And it has been for 10 years. And then he'll do a quick 180 and do a stupid bit about a seal or something. I don't care that his jokes feel kind of stupid because they're actually a lot more intelligent and brave than picking low-hanging fruit every day and looking at your audience like it's a really high-hanging piece of fruit. I'd rather listen to Seth play 2 Trump cabinet members at once just sitting at his desk than to have someone tell me the same story and toss in a clip made up of information I've been force-fed a million times. Does he get as many laughs? No, and I appreciate that because the laughs that he does get are genuine. A weak joke gets a weak laugh, and you can hear it. Here's a clip from one of his shows last week.
Thanks to my research, we were finally able to rule out poison as the cause of death in the Lincoln assassination.
You guys, that's a good joke. That's a good joke. I know you didn't like it, but you're gonna go home. That's a good joke.
It's evident in each episode that Seth Meyers accomplishes a much higher quality of joke telling with much less of a budget, much less of an audience, and one host. What makes The Daily Show such a hit? It has a great production quality, it's very digestible, it's consistently relevant and active, and it has a host for every kind of consumer you could be. That's what gets the number under the video to be big. Number is big, audience assumes quality, and offers praise through laughter at every joke presented. Number gets bigger, or at least stays big. It's an endless cycle that forces The Daily Show to kind of feel like they're not even trying with their jokes anymore. Because they don't need to. Everything's telling them that they should keep doing what they're doing. Here's what I want. No, I need The Daily Show to use the extra energy that it has during this era of easy comedy under Trump, making stronger, more intelligent, more outside of the formula jokes. I say need because I have a deep gut feeling that if we keep propping up low bar comedy as great comedy, comedy will eventually have such an effective low bar that it will be dead without anyone knowing it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go spit milk on Phoebe for 2 hours because Simba and Skippy think it's hilarious.